If you need to sell your home in order to buy your next one, this is where things get pretty tricky and people start to make a lot of expensive mistakes. I'm talking about losing out on homes, rushing decisions, or even worse, getting stuck with two homes at the same time or no homes at all. And the problem is most of what you hear online sounds great in theory, but it often doesn't work in practice, especially depending on your specific market. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what actually works when you are buying and selling a home at the same time, based on what we're seeing in the greater Boston area. And stick around to the end because I'm going to give you the 4 things that you should be doing right now in order to put yourself ahead of the other people in the same position. So what is the core problem here? Well, the issue isn't just timing. It's the fact that you have to coordinate 2 of the largest financial transactions, usually of your life, at the same time with uncertainty on both sides. You don't know exactly when your home is going to sell. You don't know exactly what you're going to walk away with. And at the same time, you're competing with buyers who might not have to sell anything. So that is the game you are stepping into. Okay, so what are your options here? There are 3 real options going into this situation, and one of these is probably going to be a better fit for you depending on your situation. Option 1 is selling your home first. Now, this is the safest option financially. You sell your home, you understand what you are working with as far as funding your next purchase, and then you go and you find your next home. But it does come with a trade-off. You need somewhere to go in the meantime. So whether that means negotiating a lease back from the people that purchased your home, or finding a short-term rental somewhere, or even a longer-term rental that gives you that additional flexibility, or moving in with friends and family for a while. This is the cleanest strategy, but it does require planning. This tends to work best for people that are buying in a competitive, low inventory market that have to be decisive when the right home comes up and they cannot have anything holding them back. And moving once is stressful enough. Nobody in the world wants to have to move twice. But that said, the people that I've seen in this situation who have decided to grab a short-term rental or rent for a while they are looking for their next home end up being happier with their purchase because they're not necessarily rushed by any additional time constraints. Option 2 is to buy first, and this is what most people want to do. They want to take their time looking, buy the right property, and then take their time selling their current home. But you have to have the financial ability to hold both properties at the same time. That usually means having strong reserves, stable income, or access to additional capital. This tends to work best in markets that just have more options available as far as the homes that are out there and less competition among those homes. Or if you're a little bit more flexible on what you're actually willing to purchase and you have the financial ability to hold both properties temporarily. Now, this is where people usually bring up bridge loans. And yes, they do exist, but they're not nearly as common as people think. They are more expensive. You usually still have to qualify to carry both homes, and they can come with some additional risk if your current home does not sell quickly. So while they can work in specific situations, most of the time there are simpler and cheaper ways to accomplish the same goal. Option 3 is to try to sync your purchase and your sale at the same time, or sort of threading the needle. So is this possible, and does it happen? Well, it is possible in theory. It is just very difficult to pull off. And it really comes down to the home sale contingency. If you are out there making offers that are contingent on selling your home, basically you're presenting a risk to those sellers, and you're at a disadvantage compared to offers that do not have a home sale contingency. But it doesn't mean it's impossible to pull this off. So it often comes down to how far along you are in the listing process. So if your home has already been put on the market, maybe you're already through inspections, through the purchase and sale agreement, you are heading to the closing table, and it looks like you are going to actually get there. That looks very different in the eyes of the seller for the properties that you're offering on than offering on a property if you haven't even listed your home yet. Because at that point, they don't know if you are going to accept an offer on your home that is maybe contingent on that buyer selling their property. That can happen. I've seen it happen with 5 properties involved, and it's taken a year. So with that being a possibility, most home sellers are going to avoid that like the plague. So if you are further along in the process of selling your home, Even if you're just about ready to list, it looks better in the eyes of the seller who represent the property that you're offering on. And just to tell you a quick story about how this has worked for some buyers of ours when they were trying to get their offer accepted with a contingency in place. These guys were selling a condo in Arlington, beautiful condo. We were ready to get it listed, but they found a property that came up and they wanted to submit an offer on it. It seemed to be the perfect home for them. So we had all of the information about their condo listing ready to go. So when I submitted the offer to the listing agent for the property they wanted to purchase, I explained to the listing agent, look, these guys are ready to sell their condo. They're ready to go on the market. Here's the beautiful listing photos that we took. Here is all of the property information that we have. Here are all the what the condos are that are around them are actually selling for. They're going to position this property really competitively to maximize the amount of offers that they get that first week on the market. And it made the listing agent and the seller of the home that they were looking at a lot more comfortable understanding that, okay, this condo is going to sell immediately and they're not likely to accept an offer that is maybe contingent on another home sale. They're going to be accepting a very strong offer here. So we just put in a solid price point and they accepted my client's offer. And sure enough, we listed the condo the next day and they got their offer accepted. They sold the condo for $100,000 over the list price, and both closings went smoothly. So if you can present more information to the listing agent who's representing the property that you want to purchase, it's just going to benefit you that much more. If you are going to be attempting something like this, it is extremely important that you have an agent that's not only telling you what's going on, but actually illustrating to you what is happening in the local market. And I'm not just talking about the list prices of homes on Zillow or the Zestimate numbers for homes in these neighborhoods. I'm talking about actual data from the past few months, what homes in your area, the area that you're selling in, are actually closing for the last few months, what the closings look like in the areas that you are searching in over the last few months, what are the conversations like with buyers, with agents in those markets, how active are or how busy are open houses, how many offers are these homes getting. It's really important to have that boots on the ground insight in both the market that you're selling in and the market that you're buying in. These markets can shift in a matter of weeks. And if your only resource is what the listing prices are on Zillow, you might have no idea how competitive some of these markets are, especially in the greater Boston area where there is so much nuance between neighborhoods, towns, pockets within those neighborhoods. So that level of awareness isn't just optional. It's absolutely everything when it comes to streamlining this type of transaction. But even with these additional market insights, if you have a home sale contingency in your offer and you're competing against offers that don't, your chances of getting an offer accepted are much lower unless you're making up for it in a meaningful way somewhere else. So what does that look like? Well, usually it means a very strong purchase price. So at the list price or over the list price. Some appraisal gap language. And appraisal gap language basically means if you're offering over the list price and the home doesn't appraise for that offered price, you're still willing to close on the property at the price that you offered at. That gives the seller peace of mind that you're not going to base the purchase price on the appraisal. You're basing it on your offer. Then you can have clean or flexible inspection terms. Now, there are some limitations to this in the Massachusetts area right now, but you can still make an offer with very strong inspection terms. Because you have to understand from the seller's perspective, they are taking additional risk by accepting an offer that is contingent on a home sale. So the question becomes, are you offsetting that risk in a meaningful way? This is where a lot of buyers get stuck because they're trying to structure a scenario that works best for them without fully understanding what it looks like from the seller's perspective. Another quick story about offsetting this risk and how it's worked in practice is we had some clients who were selling a home in Maynard, moving to the South Shore, and they received several offers on their property after we listed it the very first week. Now, they ended up accepting an offer that had a home sale contingency despite other offers they received not having that contingency in place. So why would they accept that offer? Well, first of all, the offer with the home sale contingency was $60,000 over the next highest offer they received. The offer also had appraisal gap language in it, which meant that if the home ended up appraising by the bank for less than the offered amount, that wasn't going to prevent the buyers from moving forward with the purchase at the price that they had offered. So the appraisal wasn't going to get in the way. They were also 2 weeks away from closing on the property that they were selling, which meant that basically our sellers were only risking 2 weeks of potentially, this transaction not working out. And then they could either just fall back on one of the other offers that we received or go back on the market. And they decided the risk was worth it. And they ended up closing just fine. The buyers of their property ended up closing just fine. And it got them $60,000 extra in their pocket. So it was just a risk that they were willing to take, and it worked out great for them. So this approach tends to work best for buyers who are already well underway with their home sale, or in specific situations where competition for the home that they are purchasing just is not very high. But in most competitive situations, this is the hardest strategy to pull off. I want to pause here for a second and just give you some real world perspective on some conversations I've had recently with buyers. And I never want people to feel pressured. I don't want rushing people. I want to make sure buyers are comfortable. Confidence is very key when it comes to successfully getting through a transaction. So everyone should do things in their own time. But that said, I see a lot of people that are missing opportunities. For instance, I had a buyer come into an open house, very competitive property. I know it's going to go in the first weekend. And this buyer is just, telling me that the property feels perfect for them. And they're talking about coming back next week with their agent to walk through it. And I'm thinking to myself, this property's gone in 2 days. So if this person doesn't connect with their agent, get their act together, get their pre-approval squared away, they're missing out here. And another conversation I had with a buyer involved the buyer saying, they actually said to me, I'm waiting for a little bit more consistency with the prices in the South Shore market in general before moving forward. And that one made me really pause and sort of scratch my head. And I'm thinking to myself, there is so much nuance in every one of these neighborhoods, towns, pockets within towns, across the market, a lot of different products out there, variety of different types of homes. And this person is waiting for apparently all the sellers out there to get together in one room and talk about consistently pricing their properties for sale. And I'm like, this poor person, if they're actually serious about getting their hands on something, is going to be waiting an eternity for consistency in the market, because it's never going to happen, especially in the greater Boston area with all of the nuance between neighborhoods, listings, and motivation of home sellers. So this is where it's super important to just have your expectations aligned with what's going on in the market. And once you get to that point, you can strategically work within those accurate, realistic expectations and move forward successfully to the next chapter. So how do you actually navigate this in reality? Because it's not just about choosing one of these options. It's about structuring the entire process around your specific situation. Well, it starts with understanding the market that you are operating in. So not just looking at what homes are listed for, but understanding what they are closing for, how competitive things are, how many offers they are getting. And that usually involves working with an agent that can give you some additional insight about those local markets. From there, you want to be preparing your home for sale, even if you're not ready to go on the market yet, because if the right opportunity presents itself, you do not want to be starting from scratch. In some cases, it even makes sense to pre-market the home through your agent's network to see if a buyer surfaces that might be able to work with your timeline, with your specific situation. And then from there, understanding timing is important. So what is going on with the inventory, the demand, and the specifics of your local market? When should you actually launch your property on the MLS? And throughout all of this, always have a plan B, because things do not always go as planned. And the people that are navigating this really well are the ones that understand that, and they have a contingency plan. So the goal isn't perfection here, it's control. And the biggest mistake I see people making right now is they're out there searching for the perfect opportunity without really understanding what their current home is going to be able to do for them in this market. And that is when emotions take over and strategy disappears. So if you are even thinking about buying and selling a home at the same time, here's a few things that I would be doing right now. Number one is to have your agent set up a market watch collection for homes that are actually closing and listed in your neighborhood. Number two is to set up another market watch collection for the neighborhoods that you're going to be potentially buying in, because those two markets can behave very differently. Number three is have your agent come visit your property and start developing a strategy for how to prepare your home to launch on the market. That way you're not scrambling later. Number four is to talk to a local loan officer to better understand your financial situation and what is possible for you right now, so you understand how to navigate the market moving forward. Guys, if you were even thinking about making a move like this in the next 6 to 12 months, you don't need to make a decision right this second, but you do need a plan. The people that are navigating this really successfully are not just getting lucky. They are the ones that are fully understanding the game they are playing before they even step into it. Guys, if this video was even remotely helpful, please do me a favor and like or subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any experience buying and selling, or buying or selling. And if you have questions about what homes are selling for in neighborhoods that you are looking in, or what homes are selling for in your neighborhood, feel free to connect with us. We are happy to have that conversation with you. And if you're curious about how to best prepare your home for a sale, or if you're looking to get some activity or potential offers on your home without necessarily even having to launch it on the MLS, we can help you there as well. So feel free to reach out. We're happy to have a conversation, no pressure. But in the meantime, I hope this video was very helpful for you. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching and take care.